everybody, this is Overboy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2017 movie Spider-Man Homecoming. The movie is directed by Jon Watts and written by Jonathan Goldstein, John Francis Daley, Jon Watts, Christopher Ford, Chris McKinnon, and Eric Summers. That's like 6 writers, screenwriters. That's a lot of people. From a story by Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley. In this movie, after the events of Civil War, Spider-Man is going back to his normal routine as the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but he's wanting to be an Avenger. He's wanting to try to impress Tony Stark, and he's everything. And he starts following these criminals led by Adrian Toomes, who is the Vulture. That they were people that were cleaning up after the Avengers' first battle in New York, and everything, and they got shut down by Tony Stark's company, who hired specialists to go in and clean out the stuff. And so Adrian Toomes and his gang are stealing stuff from different battles and trying to hide it and create their own weapons and stuff to sell and everything. I like how it kind of harkens back to the original Iron Man, how Tony was originally making weapons for bad people and he didn't really know it, but this guy's doing it because he's trying to take care of his family and everything. He's a lower class person, working class, and he's just trying to get by to take care of his family and everything. I like how the Vulture is really fleshed out in this movie. But anyway, Peter is trying to stop them and everything and solve the problems all on his own and everything, and he gets into some trouble along the way and everything, and Tony decides to take his suit and everything, so he has to use his old handmade suit that he had originally made to fight the Vulture and everything. And it was just done really well. For the most part, the movie is pretty good. I'll get to more into details about some of the things I didn't like about this movie in a minute, but the cast in this is really good. Tom Holland was absolutely perfect as the MCU Spider-Man. He was perfect in Captain America Civil War, and he was great in this and everything. He fit Peter Parker very well, and he was also great when he was Spider-Man. Just really likable. Michael Keaton plays Adrian Toomes, or Vulture, and he does a very good job too. Like I said, I think the character was written very, very well and everything, and Michael Keaton just does a really, really great job bringing the sinister kind of craziness to the character and everything. He does a really great job. Marissa Tomei plays Aunt May. She's not in this movie as much as I had expected her to be, but she does a good job playing her and everything. It's still really weird seeing Aunt May being young and good looking and stuff, but she does a good job. Jon Favreau is in this. He returns as Happy Hogan, who is Tony's chauffeur driver and everything. And Tony has him kind of helping keep an eye out on Peter and everything, and he does a pretty good job. He kind of has this douchebag vibe to him because he doesn't really ever believe anything that Peter says or anything, but and everything. But he still really he still plays the character really well. And Robert Downey Jr. has some brief appearances in this movie throughout the movie, and he's great as Tony Stark as always. Zendaya plays Michelle Jones, who at the end of the movie says that her friends call her MJ. I don't know if she's meant to be Mary Jane in the MCU or if it's just a nod to Mary Jane or what, but um, it looks like she's gonna be dating Spidey in the next movie, Spider-Man: Far From Home, but and everything, which I think is kind of cool because a lot of people were really butthurt by her. They didn't like her. They said she had no place in the movie, but if you really watch this movie, you can kind of tell that she has feelings for Peter and everything, and I'm pretty sure that it was kind of somewhat setting up what's going to happen in the next movie. I know a lot of people didn't like it and everything, but I thought she's a decent casting. She just doesn't have a lot to do in this particular movie. Donald Glover plays Aaron Davis, who is known as Michael Morales' uncle, who becomes a Prowler. Miles Morales is also known as another Spider-Man, and from the way he's talking in this movie, his nephew is really young, so he hasn't got his Spider-Man powers yet and everything, but he does mention that he has a nephew, so we know that Miles Morales does exist in the MCU because of that reason. I hope eventually we get to see it play out where he becomes the new Spider-Man in the MCU. I think that'd be pretty cool. But Donald Glover's really good in the scenes that he's in. He's not in it very much, but he does a good job. He's a pretty good actor, so I mean, he just doesn't have a lot to do. Jacob Batalon plays Ned. I don't know if it's Ned Leeds because they never really say if his last name is Leeds or not, but he's Peter's best friend, and he steals almost every scene he's in. He's absolutely hilarious, and he's a really, really likable character. I think he fits in this movie very well. The chemistry between him and Tom Holland is very, very great, and it helps make the movie as fun as it is and everything. There's this one part when after he finds out about him being Spider-Man, he's going around asking him all these weird questions. He asks him if he lays eggs and stuff like that. It's like, why would you ask something like that? But it's just hilarious the way he asks the questions and stuff. He's just a really likable character, and I can't wait to see him in Far From Home and everything. He had a really cool small appearance in Infinity War, so it was also pretty hilarious too. Laura Harrier plays Liz, who we find out is Adrian Toomes' daughter, but she's a girl that Peter's had a really big crush on, and he's planning on taking her to the homecoming dance, and everything, but he ends up not staying at the dance with her because he has to go fight her dad. But she's good in this. She doesn't have a lot to do either. She's like the leader of the decathlon, which Peter's part of the team and everything, and he does help save her and everything in one of the scenes. But she's not a huge part, but she is a relatively small important part. And Tony Revolori plays Flash Thompson. I think he's from Guatemala or something, but a lot of people were really, really mad about his casting because he's in the comics and stuff. He's always been a white bully and everything, and they kind of they changed him a lot. And he does pick on Peter a lot and everything, but you can tell it's more out of jealousy and envy than actually being a real bully and everything. And a lot of people hated the way they did it. I think it's a breath of fresh air. I like that he's not just this big bully that's a jock and everything. I like that they took him in a different direction, and I think the guy that plays him is good. He's funny in quite a few parts too when he's calling him Penis Parker and stuff like that. It cracks me up and everything. And I don't think he was bad like everyone said. And I think it's really, really messed up that he got death threats because of his skin color and everything, because he did a good job playing him, and that's all that really matters. It shouldn't really matter what color a person is as long as they play the character good. But I don't want to get too political or anything, so I'm not gonna keep going on about that. Um, the score by Michael Giacchino is pretty good. I was really excited when I heard he was doing the score for this because I like a lot of his other work, and I don't think this is his best score, but I think it was a lot better than the Doctor Strange score for sure. And I like how he kind of added the original 1960s Spider-Man theme song from the animated show into the theme. I thought that was really cool and everything, but um, I don't think it's the best score, but it's definitely not terrible. It's really a rather decent one for, especially for the MCU when a lot of their scores are pretty forgettable because most of them kind of all sound the same and everything. This one did sound a little bit different, so the score was pretty good. Um, the cinematography by Salvatore Totino is good. Um, I don't think it's the best cinematography in the MCU, but it is really good. Um, there's some uh, really nice cinematography in it. Though the editing by Dan LaBentel and Debbie Berman is good. I don't. It works perfectly for this movie. It's kind of weird though, because there's like this one scene when they're going back and forth between Tony and Peter talking, and Tony's in this really bright place and everything, and on the other side of the world, and Peter's in this park in the dark in New York City, and every time it switches back and forth, it about blinds me because it's so bright when Tony's on screen, and then it goes back to where Peter is, and it gets so dark. It's like really messes with my eyes. But but yeah, I like this story for the most part. I like how a lot of the characters are written and everything. The cast is really likable. Also Martin Starr, who was on Freaks and Geeks with John Francis Daly, is in this. He plays their uh, their decathlon coach or teacher or whatever, and he's really good in this. But he's not in a whole lot, but he's good in it, and everything. I thought it was cool that they casted him in there because John Francis Daly and him were both in Freaks and Geeks together, so I thought that was kind of cool. Um, but my main problems with this movie is the continuity is weird because at the beginning of the movie it picks up right after the Avengers, and then it says 8 years later, which means that the movie would have been set in the year 2020 instead of 2017. It didn't really fully make sense on that and everything. And then also later in the movie, when they're moving the stuff from the Avengers Tower to the new place and everything, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense either, because you would think the new place, because they had already moved to the new place by the end of Age of Ultron. So that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me either. I'm guessing maybe they just didn't have everything moved yet, and they were storing some of the stuff in the old Avengers Tower, and they had to move it because it got sold. Hopefully, maybe to Mr. Fantastic. If once they add them into the MCU, I can only hope. But I don't know if that's the case, but that could be what it is. But yeah, the continuity kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But if I ignore that, the movie is still a lot of fun and everything, and it's definitely one of the better MCU movies. It's not one of my very, very most favorites, but it's definitely one of the ones that I like quite a bit. I don't know where I would put it in my ranking yet, but it is a lot of fun though and everything. I didn't really like how he relies so much on Tony for his suit and everything, but I think he's just wanting to fit in with the Avengers and stuff in this movie. He finally learns that he should just be on his own and everything. I don't like the way they do his character, because I mean, in a lot of ways too. Though, even though I think Tom Holland is perfect, there are things about it that I don't like. I don't like that they don't really hardly mention Uncle Ben, who is a huge reason why Peter became Spider-Man and everything. They give little hints about it, but they don't actually directly mention him. And I understand they don't want to go back into showing him die all over again and everything, but just a little brief conversation could have cleared everything up. But they kind of skip over it as much as they can and everything. But I think they're also kind of saving that, because I think that the relationship between Tony and Peter is kind of making up for the Uncle Ben's absent thing, but I'm not for sure. We'll just have to wait and see what goes on. I think I have an idea of what's going to happen in Infinity War that's going to have a big effect on Spider-Man throughout the rest of the... I mean, not Infinity War, Endgame. On him throughout the rest of the MCU, but we'll just have to wait and see. But, this is a fun movie. It's, like I said, it's not one of the very, very best to me, but it's definitely not one of the very worst either. It's somewhere along in the middle. And I'd give it an 8 out of 10, because it is a lot of fun to watch. Just the continuity kind of gets on my nerves a little bit and everything, and I kind of don't like how they kind of take away some of the things that make him a trademark character and everything, but there's still a lot more room for him to grow in the MCU and everything. So, but anyway, that's my review for Spider-Man Homecoming. If there's any other top 10 list movie reviews or movie series rankings you want me to do, let me know in the comments and I'll get to them as quick as I can. If you can follow me on Facebook at Ogreboy1992, and if you like to talk about movies and stuff, you can join my group, Movie Talk and Reviews. I'll leave a link in the comments for my Facebook group, and feel free to join if you want to, and thank you and have a good day.